Is deepfake technology something that we really should be more worried about than we are? Or do you think that we'll always be able to stay somewhat of one step ahead of it?
Um, I think that's a great question. I'm in two minds about this. The first mind is that human beings are amazing at detecting what's real and what's not. Um, it really we've done such a good job of looking at animated uh, people in games and on television and going, that person isn't a real person. That's fading though. Um, as the technology's been getting better, it's a lot easier to look, a lot more difficult to look at something and say, hey, that's not a real person. Um, and that really has consequences for us, not simply because it tricks our mind, but because of the way humans learn. So humans are social learners. So the example I like to kind of talk about when I talk about this idea of social learning is that the Europeans used to think tomatoes were poisonous. And how do we know that tomatoes aren't poisonous? I mean, our parents fed us tomatoes. And so we learn a lot of how we see and view the world through social interaction. And if we can distort that social learning, and we replace it with something that's fake, especially around people we trust, it really kind of corrupts how we learn as human beings. And that that can be very detrimental. So I think deep fakes that don't uh, implant ideas might not be so bad. Things that are funny or in jest or um, for movies. I think the other thing that people are kind of concerned about with deep fakes is like blackmail and bribery. And um, I would say that we've had deep fakes in the still sense. So we've had Photoshop where you could Photoshop, create a fake picture of somebody doing something. And as human beings, we've um, responded to this by being more skeptical of the media we see. So we just say, that's not true. That must be a fake picture. And we kind of default to our own values or experiences with that person. And so we've gotten really good at, I mean, Photoshop is amazing. I would say that you could create photorealistic fakes. Um, and so the ability to create photorealistic or video realistic video that's fake, I think we'll respond in the same way as a society. We'll look at it, we'll be like, um, that's not aligning with my values or what I believe about that person to be true, and we will reject it. Um, there'll still be, a group that believes it, but I think for the majority of the population, they'll respond to deep fakes. I mean, realistic deep fakes in the same way they respond to realistic photoshopped images. And so I'm not worried too much about um, influence in that sense in terms of slander or defamation, but I'm worried about it in terms of learning. So somebody says that deep fake of an influential person saying that the way you cure a particular disease is by doing X, um, and people are like, oh, I trust this person, I'm going to learn from this person, the idea aligns with my values, this seems like something that's real, I'm going to act on it. um, but places where judgments passed or people who are trying to be defamed, I'm not so worried about those.